Good morning and welcome to the Capital Gang. I am Oscar Msoke with, I think this is the first, yes it is, the first Capital Gang of 2026. Happy New Year to everyone. I have in the studio the ever optimistic, lately I'm not so sure if he's optimistic, Joseph Otieno. You're most welcome to the Capital Gang, Joseph. And a happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, happy New Year to all the gangsters, and indeed happy New Year to this republic. This country must survive after 40 years. My optimism continues to be that this country is possible. I have seen one young Moses in a light yellow. 20 years ago, he was taunting me about how much they'd captured Uganda House. I was reminding him today that he has been very kind to me by informing me of that at the time. I actually underestimated it at the time. But I want to assure him that after 20 years, the reality is here, but the future of this country is possible. Just sadly that I am here seeing Nicolas Maduro being picked like a chicken thief in Venezuela, and other guys are literally quiet, and they claim to be internationalists and they claim to be friends with these people. I am here, of course. My fantastic friend Sarah Bireti is in jail, and these guys claim they brought peace and prosperity, and they boast. But it is possible this country will claim its space beyond here.
And this is a good time to throw in a word for UPC. You wish them luck. And
Uganda People's Congress members are struggling across the country. One sent me a cheeky note that instead of being on Capital FM, I should be sending them shillings. But the guys with the shillings are the guys who are illegally occupying Uganda House. The guys with the shillings are the guys who have got special deals with these guys. But politics should not be about shillings. Politics should be about making sure that we undo the mess Ender has created. We unmask their lies of 45 years and create possibilities for all our candidates across the country to try and claim whatever they can at local level. Nationally, the Moseses were damn scared by us, so they locked my presidency in courts, weaponized it, and of course, my good brother Jim McKenna complained, but quite clearly the case is that we don't have we don't have a presidential candidate. But our candidates on the ground are doing fantastically well. As you know, we are the only party of ideas, and I wish them well. And in fact, they will do generally very well. But of course, against the background of monetization of politics, it is hard for many of them. But whoever's there, they know that we shall share with them basic little airtime. And our airtime don't come from anywhere. Our airtime comes from our members in a very legitimate way, nothing trafficked.
Benjamin Katana is in the studio as well. Good morning. Happy New Year to you as well.
Good morning, Oscar. Happy New Year to you, to my colleagues on the show, and the people of Uganda out there that are listening to the show.
You didn't like my second topic for the day. It says, how is the opposition faring? You didn't think that's a legitimate question?
No, the complaint was not about that particular one. The complaint was about another one. The NRM projects an image that NRM has already won, and the question is whether it will win big or not, which I think is misleading.
Well, they've kind of won 19 seats in parliament already. That's a big win.
Yeah, but 19 seats out of how many? Also, this is not a parliamentary system. It's universal adult suffrage. And the bigger contestation is on the presidency. The bigger contestation is on the presidency. And we are yet to cast the votes.
Okay.
Unless you are privy to the plan to rig.
Benjamin, I like you very much, but I like you very much, but something that are clear. Derek Wandera, the journalist, is in the studio. You're most welcome to Gang. Derek, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, Oscar, and it's always great being here.
Moses Byaruhanga is in the studio as well. You're most welcome to Gang. Back again, Moses. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and our listeners out there.
And as Joseph says, this is a faded yellow shirt. I don't know whether you feel faded. It's kind of posh, yes. But
this is the Timberland.
No, that is posh.
This is the Timberland.
What does Timberland mean?
For Joseph, it's a designer. Really. For the people who you can Google Timberland is something.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have for Joseph, he doesn't know these things, and I'm happy to be with some of these other young men in the studio. Our listeners there. Happy New Year to you all.
Yeah. So I have a guest who will be here with us a little shortly. Oremo Odwe. Is that the correct way to say the name?
Yes, the name is Oremo Odwe.
Oremo Odwe.
Yes.
Okay. Which one is the first name and which one is the surname?
The first one is Oremo.
Oremo.
Yes.
And the surname is Odwe.
Odwe.
And Odwe comes from your parents or?
From my parent.
Okay.
Oremo, the son of Odwe.
Oremo, the son of Odwe.
Yes.
Okay. He's a founder and moderator of Mark Bench, a former guild, is it president's aspirant?
Yes, at Makerere University.
Okay. And your 2025 NRM flag youth MP aspirant.
Yes, for Northern Uganda.
For Northern Uganda.
Yeah.
So on Thursday, you are wishing people to vote in for you.
No. I think if you can see there, it is former. I did not.
Former.
Yes.
My producer didn't write it well.
They are arresting founders of things, so hopefully he's safe.
No, not really.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to have you on Gang. And what is the Mark Bench? What is Mark Bench?
The Mark Bench is a platform. It was sort of a student movement that I came up with at Makerere University at the time. When I was a student, being a student of journalism and communication, there was need for debate and intellectual discourse among students. There was a vacuum at the university. So we started it at the university, but later it is spread across to draw the interest of students across the country and actually outside the country. There was that one time when we hosted Professor Lumumba, and we had the students' movement from across the continent, from West Africa, from South Africa, engaging on how, as young leaders of this country, we can shape the future of Uganda, and not just Uganda, and also the continent. So we have since been holding conversations, having discussions, measures together with young people, meeting to discuss the direction probably that we want our country to take and the region.
It sounds very good, but then now, instead of continuing with that kind of discussion, you're resorting to prayer.
No, prayer is also part of what we need as a country, because our intercession that we are talking about is simply, for now, the voting time and the post-election period, because we wouldn't want to see a country that is going to be ravaged going down because of absence of a peaceful process. That's why we have come up with Youth for Peace Uganda to ensure that in this season we engage young people across the country. If you look at violent seasons, most times it is you find young people at the front line. That's why we're engaging young people across the country. We're engaging religious leaders, the priests, the leaders in the Anglican Church, and even
you have prayer tomorrow.
The Muslim leaders. Yes, tomorrow across the country, young people are going to lead services. They are going to lead mass, even in mosques, and they are going to be making prayers.
How have you organized that?
We have coordination going on all over the country. As I speak right now, there's a team that is meeting priests in the whole of Busoga sub-region, simply and basically to ensure that we bring them on board, because in a country like Uganda, religious leaders have a very good say, a very great say on the people and the direction that community takes. So we think through prayers, but also letting people know the advantage of having a peaceful country during and after elections. We want people to know the advantage to that, to the young people of this country.
You're kind of promoting a view that we are doomed. We are in doomsday time, and we are just left with prayers.
Not really. There are other initiatives that are going on. Conversations are going on. If you look at the sitting arrangement that is in this studio, I am seeing the Treasurer General of the National Unity Platform facing, and that alone is tolerance. That alone is bridging.
The man
And
with so much money in Nup.
yes, a man who carries the monies of NUP is facing the head of an institution in the NRM in State House, and this is the.
It only happens on gang. Once you get out there,
Yes.
and so Oscar.
once they get out there, these guys get beaten, get tear gassed, and so on gang is where you see what it's supposed to be.
So you together with us, you are part of the people making initiatives to ensure that we have a peaceful country, because whenever intolerance crops in, that's when you will see violence taking center stage, and we can lose a country. We can have destruction.
Okay, we'll have you for the hour, and every time you think you can interject, talk about how prayer will help with the discussion. You can say so.
I'm glad to be here on Capital Gang and to make a contribution.
And one of our topics is the Electoral Commission ready, and we'll have someone from Electoral Commission come in on the hour mark to tell us how ready they are. So Benjamin, you dispute that NRM is not going to win big.
Yeah.
Why do you dispute that?
He's outraged.
No, first of all,
Go on, Benjamin.
yeah, first of all is that we have done our studies. We have moved across the country. The violence and interference from the state infrastructure notwithstanding, and we are very confident that we are winning this election. And that's why we dispute the insinuation occasioned by the topic you framed. We don't want to believe in bad faith, that it's misleading and is intended to create a wrong impression, which we believe is inappropriate. We have moved across the country, we have done surveys, and we are very confident that we are winning this election. And that explains why the NRM and of course having co-opted the state infrastructure has resulted to violence, has resulted to intimidation of our agents, buying of our candidates, of course with a view of ensuring that we don't have agents deployed in those places. If they enjoyed the support of the population, they would not be resorting to underhand methods as a shortcut to winning. And that's why we believe that that topic, as it is framed, is misleading. But we want to believe that in framing it, you did not want to... because normally when we are going into the elections, there is always an attempt to, first of all, cause voter apathy, that this election is over, that even your voting will not be of any significance because the winner will not be determined by your voting. Yet we see the people that are propagating that narrative move around the country, fulfill pledges they made 20 years ago. Moses here has been very effective on fulfilling pledges in markets in the election season. We see them arresting supporters. We see them arresting people of civil society. We see them intimidating and coercing people out of race. Those are not things that are done by a person that is confident of winning through legitimate means. Yeah, so we...
you remember last week, was it the other week, we had Mr. Nyombi Tembo here telling us we cannot publish results and so on, issuing threat-like instructions. So, but we can ask you, direct, for example, do you see NUP winning in Bara? Do you see NUP winning in Kasese? Where do you see the NUP wins? Because you know Moses Byaruhanga is going to come up here with statistics as usual.
Yes, Kasese is one of them. Mbarara in some parts, yes. The bigger parts of Busoga, the bigger parts of Uganda, actually all the parts of Uganda we will win.
Some parts of Uganda now you don't have an MP.
Well, but we don't only have,
because they've been denominated.
We don't only have parliamentary candidates, and like I mentioned, that we don't have a parliamentary system where the candidate with the biggest number of MPs forms government. Will win in even some parts of Far East, West Nile. So we are very confident that, and even some parts of Chigezi. And our biggest task now is to make sure that we stop them from doing what they have been doing in the previous election cycles, of forcing people to vote on the table. You have seen some RDCs threatening that in their respective districts people will vote on the tables. We have seen also the NRM candidates in Zimbabwe declaring that voting will be done on the tables, which is a departure from the established framework within our constitution.
What does on the tables mean?
Meaning that everyone who gets their ballot paper puts on the table when everyone else is seeing, so that they vote for the candidate that the ones with the power at that particular polling station want. And that explains what you have been seeing in some places, that the candidate has scored 100% of the registered voters, not even of the voters that have turned up in areas like Chiruhura and Kazo, where you find that there was nobody who was sick, there was nobody who had traveled, there was nobody who had died, but all the people registered at that particular polling station turned up and voted for one candidate.
What about Gulu, Northern Uganda?
Yes, we'll divide that one.
Okay, Moses Byaruhanga, on the same question, will NRM win big? You've been saying all this time that you think NRM the opposition is even going to have lower numbers than they had before.
That's a fact.
It's a fact.
Yeah. And anybody who doesn't see it, like Benjamin, I'm merely sympathizing with him. But you see, we are having 3 elections in one, but 2 in one, but the third one coming slightly later. We have the presidential elections, we have the parliamentary elections, you have the local government elections. And the local government, you have, the district and the ones at the sub-counties. Now, all this is seen in totality. Look at, for instance, parliamentary elections. The number of seats for parliament, the directly elected seats are 353. The women seats for cities and districts are 146. Total 499 for those two, if I don't bring in the interest, special interest groups. Now, out of 199, NRM nominated in all of them. Has candidates in all of them. I think only one was denominated the other day. So 498, about 99.9%. At the time of the close of nominations, NUP had only 58%, 294 out of 499. Before the nomination, for anybody was removed by other means, those who didn't have for the papers, you had to add them on the mizani, and then they don't match, and she said that your papers are not of the same weight like the others. Those ones on the side, the Warukagas and others. So they had only 58% nominations, I mean, in the constituencies. Now, the 42%, they just leave them to us. That's why we have an opposed here and there, or running with some NRM independents. So they are going to win the 42% generally. Now, in the 58% where we are running with them, definitely we are going to defeat them. We are going to have a majority in those. So we are going to have an NRM-dominated parliament like we have today, with the speaker coming from NRM, with the deputy speaker coming from NRM, chairperson of committees coming from NRM. Now, the best at parliamentary level, the best NUP can achieve, for instance, is being leader of opposition in parliament. Now, they want to make the country believe that in an unlikely event, and if you went back, why didn't they get people nominated in all these constituencies? That's at parliamentary level. If you go at the local, at the district chairperson level, there are 146 districts and cities. NRM has candidates in each one of them. NUP has only in 49 districts. That is, they have left 97 for us, they said, for us, that day we cannot manage. You people, you go and do it the way you want to do it. And so we're going to win the chairperson of districts. At the district councillor level, their nominees are only 29% at the district councillor level in the whole country. If you go at the local government, at the LCC level, there are only nominees in 28% of the district sub-county chairpersons. At the LC3 councillor level, there are only nominees in 19% of the constituencies. Now, they were saying that for them, they didn't have, because they didn't have primaries like we did. So for them, they were saying people should write like a expression of interest, like you're asking for a job to stand in their party. And I wanted to hear it from Benjamin here, that out of 499 seats, directly elected seats, they received the requests from each one of them, but others they didn't manage to give to approve them. Because for them, they're approving select committee to approve who gets the card. So for me, what it gives you this, what does this imply? That people there were by the time Otieno here decides to offer himself as a candidate, he gauges and thinks he can win or not. If he thinks he cannot win, he just doesn't have to. It doesn't mean you don't have some little support in that area. It might be there, but he says, I can't win here for my party, so why do I waste my time and money and so forth and so forth? So that's why they don't have candidates across the country in all those positions, and that's a good indicator that we are going to win the presidential elections. That's very clear. Now, so just look at it this way: in an unlikely event that wins the presidential elections, which is just very unlikely. In parliament, you are in minority. You are in the opposition. NRM is the one who is in charge of parliament. Under our constitution, that would mean if you bring a law, NRM would pass it the way they want to pass it because they have majority in parliament. They will do it like within NRM guidelines and constitution or NRM manifesto. Now, the president has the powers, if they bring this for assent, to reject a law, and they take it back to parliament. In our situation, if parliament insists and passes it the way it passed it, and they bring it, and the president brings it back to parliament, rejects it for a second time. If they pass it a third time, it doesn't have to come back to the president for assent. It just becomes a law. So, in such either you have a statement, or in such a situation, NRM takes over through parliament by passing the laws the way NRM wants them, in that manner. So, really, that shows you that one giving NUPEC a vote will be just you are just voting with the losing side. So anybody, it's in their interest, by the way, all those new people like Benjamin to come and vote with us. Chiambabo. So to come and join us.
Post saying
come and join us.
Norbert Mao is going to vote for President Museveni after so many years of not voting for him.
I wouldn't be surprised because he knows who is going to win. So, you see, people when we win candidates, see, in an election, I remember during my political science lectures, the late Professor Byaruhanga was telling us that how the European Parliament sit in a C formation, especially the UK at the time, was we have the extreme right, have the extreme left. Now we would say Byaruhanga is on the extreme right of NRM, Benjamin on the other extreme right of opposition. Now there are those in the middle who are waiting to see which side is likely to win, and they go that side. So the campaign should be directed. I don't want to convince Benjamin to join me, but he can join me if he wants. But those that are inside there are the target. So those ones who, when they see this fact, say, but I'm going to lose. Why waste my vote? Either they don't vote or they vote for the one who's going to win. So people, true, they vote for the winning side after seeing the circumstances.
Okay.
So there's no here, like for instance, like Kampala here. In the last election, part of Kampala and part of Soga, because of high urbanization in these areas, we are getting out of COVID situation. We had been in 2 years under COVID, 1.5 years for up to the time we opened up fully. people in urban centers, they have to pay rent, they have to buy food, they have to earn money to buy water, pay for utilities to survive. While people in the villages, many of them don't rent houses, they stay in their own houses. Many don't buy food, all the food.
They don't
have
buy
the water, they don't buy electricity.
They are poor.
So not necessarily the poor, not necessarily, not all of them, because that's so true.
But many are poor, and that's why you've created PDM and so on.
That's
many
true.
of them are poor, and that's why you're saying you bring them to the cash economy.
And Katana is saying they want to abolish PDM. Their party is saying they want to abolish PDM.
Why don't you let me speak for myself?
No, but your president said it. Your president said it in the Usoga.
And I mentioned on this show that you are misquoting.
No, I have it on record. If you want, you can play it. Here, if they can allow, you can play it. It's said it. No, it is there. It is there.
My candidate is only going to forgive those who have given money. They don't have to repay the money.
No. Your candidate in Soga, while launching in a manifesto, in one of the districts of Soga, said he will abolish PDM. And I liked him when he said that, because he was campaigning for me now, because he's just now my agent.
Yeah. Or maybe he would have something better.
No, he didn't say anything better. But let me finish this point. He hasn't said anything better, by the way. I've been listening to some of the clips. So
with a biased mind.
No, but he said it. He said it there. And for you now deny he didn't say it. That's also not fair. If somebody said something and it's on record, you acknowledge that we made a mistake, maybe because PDM is good for Ugandans, people like it, and you come and say you're going to abolish it. You're just campaigning for us.
You're also throwing in campaign barbs there.
I was explaining.
Moses.
I was explaining.
In addition to PDM, it would be good to have running water.
Especially Kampala.
Electricity.
Yeah. Most of the villages in Uganda today, I think 85% of the villages in Uganda have access to clean water. That's on record.
Excluding part of my Nagongera, which is actually a town since before you came into power.
85%.
And Nagongera has been a mini township for a very long time.
If it is in 15%, then we shall. That's why we need another 5 years. In the next 5 years, we'll be 100%.
Yes, concluded.
That's what we need. So I was concluding that here in the city, urban areas, because of the lifestyle, you have to earn money to survive, and like in the villages. So the voting against us last time was based on people they're under COVID. They were not earning money. But the landlord is demanding rent. Some people had eaten into their capitals, in their capital, and so on and so forth. So there was that wave of economic need, which had not been satisfied, and that's why the performance. And if you look at the new performance in Uganda here, they got 1.9 million votes in Uganda. We got 1 million votes in Uganda. They defeated us in Uganda with 900,000 votes, but the 900,000. 500,000 of it was in Kampala and Wakiso. The rest was 400,000 outside Kampala and Wakiso. And that's very easy to recover, and I'm sure we have already recovered that. The 400,000 are going to be much higher. Now, within the 500,000 defeated with us in Kampala, we have made a lot of penetration within Kampala, Wakiso area. We are going to do much better. In my own database here, within this Kampala Wakiso area, where we received a total of 250,000 votes. If you add on Mukono, it was about 300,000 votes within these 3 districts. In my database here, I already have people I know we are in touch with are going to vote for us to a tune of about 240,000 of them. Okay. So basically, I have them. I have them here.
We have recorded.
Record.
The you need to have your notebook out ready.
So it is very clear. It is very clear that the NRM presidential candidates, we're going to win the presidential election, the parliamentary election. That is no uncertainty, and the local government elections.
Right. Chief RDC is here. Most welcome to gang, Mr. Fred Bamwine in a yellow tie.
I think when we invite Moses, we shouldn't invite him because they are overly subscribed.
The point is noted, except for an RDC in yellow. I don't know how impartially fair I'm going to get in the services locally. But those are my thoughts.
Yellow ties are
Benjamin.
in all the shops.
Benjamin, these days coming to election, he agreed to come because always there's an accusation against an RDC. So he's here and he will respond. But let's have Julius, Derek first on microphone before Joseph. You've gone around the country, especially eastern and northern Uganda lately, and unfortunately even went to a burial. May their soul rest in eternal peace. And is there a feeling that NRM is going to win? I like Benjamin, but is the feeling there, or is Benjamin correct that NUP is going to win many parts?
Well,
unlike what Moses is showing.
If crowds are anything to go by in an election, especially during the campaigns, then the two sides have really pulled crowds. I've seen quite huge crowds at NRM or President Museveni's rallies. I've seen very huge crowds.
Unfortunately for me, whenever Moses has a big crowd, he sends me a video.
Your phone must be full.
It is full.
Yeah, they have
videos of only the rally, or
they have
people entering buses to go to the rally.
They have huge crowds, and I think that the NRM mobilizers have really done a good job. I have seen spontaneous and growing huge crowds on the Benjamin Katana's rallies. The other day when I was traveling, President Museveni in Lugazi. That's where he was campaigning from. I think it was Saturday or Sunday. But I tell you, Friday. I met more than 200 buses traveling from the east towards, and all of them came and parked at in Lugazi, and all of them were full of people, supporters, and people. And my question then begs, where exactly do these crowds come from? Because at least I've been able to be at Benjamin Katana's presidential candidate rallies, and you'd see that sometimes he even reaches there when there are no people, but the crowd just keeps growing spontaneously. We just see people coming in their droves. I know that they also travel with quite many vehicles of mobilizers.
A couple of weeks ago, Fred Bamwine said he's a star, a celebrity, so people will come anyway.
Yeah, so for me, going by crowds, these two people have really pulled very huge crowds, and I know that it's going to be a very tough race between the two of them.
Really? You think so?
I feel so. It's going to be a tough race. I think...
So Moses may be misadvising his boss, saying it's not going to be a tough race.
In the last election, I think
he's misadvising the voters. Probably is telling the boss the truth.
in the last election, I think President Museveni's opponent got the highest votes that any other opponent has ever gotten. The biggest number of could be because of the turn up, and we know that the turn up was very low in the last election. So yes, you can sit with Moses, and he will give you the statistics of how the numbers have kept dropping on the side of NRM, and the percentages have kept dropping, and this should be something to worry him, this should be something to worry him, because I think apart from 2006, where he got I think 68% of the vote, that has and that was the second highest after 1996, and then you're seeing it dropping to 59, 58, anywhere there. I feel
he says the numbers have never dropped.
I feel. And he's a master of numbers, of statistics. I've hosted him, and he will speak numbers and stuff like that. And numbers don't lie.
Commission results are on their platform.
What is 59 higher than 68?
No. The number in the last election we got 6,050,000 votes. Tell me when you have got less than more than that ever.
Yeah, because
I said the number.
The percentage reflects.
So for me,
also takes
for
care
me, I
of
feel
the number, because also the voters increase. So
I feel the numbers are going to even dwindle lower for the NRM candidate, because there is a lot of voter fatigue and voter apathy out there. It's something that you cannot just shut your eyes from. You will look at places like Busoga. They changed a lot in the last election, to the extent that President Museveni lost in Busoga for the first time, I think. The biggest part of Busoga. And even in the east, when you look at, for instance, Busia, where I come from, President Museveni lost in that district. It had never been like that. Of course, when you go into Teso and the other regions, FDC had been very dominant there, but NRM had to take it in the last election. So for me, I feel these two are it's going to be a two-horse race, really. Yeah.
Okay, Joseph? The same question is Katana here said that NUP may win, may take it. Byaruhanga says NRM will take it as a fact.
It's absolutely their responsibility. It's
their responsibility to say that.
Yes,
Derek says that it is neck and neck.
Derek is he saying neck and neck? Possibly neck and neck is sort of the language as it seems to suggest.
He's a journalist,
but indeed, and there's somewhere in between there. But I just want to say that one, crowds, as Milton Obote reminded us, leading to 1995-96, and Bambini is laughing because that is the master of this political thing, and I take it authoritatively and still remains the future, and not really the monies in the pot. And I'm giving context, and Bambini will be excited. Leading to the 1996 elections, part of the debate we're having inside UPC, and young Odwe will be excited to follow that closely, because I like him to be more interested in that, is that the issue then was whether or not participating in the monolithic no-party elections by NRA cowards then was the right thing. Cecilio Gual and others were arguing that we had the numbers, we had the crowds. Whenever they went to burials, because the Moseses had locked political parties, they couldn't. Whenever they went to churches, people clapped for them. So on the basis of that, they believed we had strength on the ground, and in the event that we participated in those elections together with the DP and others, we would win. Obote told them that the numbers at the rallies are not necessarily the numbers that you'll get at the polling booth. So to that extent,
Moses,
these crowds of animals.
I'm coming to that.
I've seen his, like I told you, he sends me videos when he has those crowds. But Derek is saying those are maybe upmarket crowds if they have come in buses and so on and so forth.
I'm going to be very fair to both of them. I'm going to be very fair to both of them. And in any case, actually, I have been politically managing some of these processes, both at home and globally, since before Moses became a senior official. So I have an idea about this. I can tell you that numbers and crowds are not necessarily the numbers. And I'm saying this for Katana, for your own interest, to say that, look, beyond the numbers that we get between today and the polling date, how do we translate the numbers of people who turn up at these rallies to real votes? And I think that's the challenge that will face most of the opposition leaders. And for the first time in a very long time, I've been very critical about the organized opposition in the absence of UPC leadership. Of course, without our leadership, it's neither here nor there. But
you're here. Why don't you offer the leadership? Are you in heaven? You are here in Uganda.
Benjamin, if you're patient enough, the way normally you are, you'd actually get my message. That it is the issue is how organized opposition pooled their resources together against a backdrop of NRA terror almost, to make sure that the numbers that include some of what Derek seems to suggest, people who are disgruntled would pool themselves to the polling booth. I can tell you, I also agree with Derek that the force for change, the desire for change, Moses, I have had it in the last few weeks to months more than any time before. So there is actually a genuine desire in this country for people to change. And many of these I've been hearing, including from people in NRA. Well, that's neither here nor there. And I think the idea that there is nobody else who can govern this country minus Museveni, that's the lie, and it's almost another blackmail. But young people like the Odwes ought to wake up to those realities. The idea that NRA that has failed after 40 years, has only the policies that you can turn 1 million shillings to a few people in villages and then you transform communities. No. I was in this place before NRA and I know better. So the issue is, how do we galvanize the people who genuinely want change to make sure, one, they turn up to vote, and number two, that they turn up to vote and they vote with their conscience, particularly on the basis of issues. Unfortunately, from the crowds of the two groups, and I agree, they've pulled huge crowds. And for the Katana group, no wonder NRA has got to resort to sticks for cows. Spaces where the NRA did not expect Chagulanyi to gain the numbers, basically almost across the country. I don't know where Robert Chagulanyi has gone and has not pulled crowds. And it would appear predominantly genuine crowds. And as I said, how those crowds are turned into real numbers at the polling booth. Now, because of the manner in which NRA has entrenched itself, again on the basis of the conversation you hear with the Baminues, it's almost very clearly the case that they've got either hidden numbers that include some of these new polling stations that crop from nowhere, as alleged, or an effective state machinery organized and ready to make sure that we either win or they lose kind of stuff. That to me is the worrying thing. And that then finally brings me to the question of the likes of the Odwes. Young Mr. Odwe is a fantastic young man. I've met him before, and I really, really pray and hope that he grows far, in the future. The only thing is that he's basically in the wrong party, meaning NRA. And number two, that the young Odwes, instead of actually pulling prayers in churches are fine. I should actually be a bishop, holding factors constant. But we need young people to.
What happened?
No, by the way, from Makere University, I intended to go to the major seminary, but then the NRA guys got so much cowardice, they pushed me. They pushed me to exit. But if you don't mind, let me just say this for young people.
In a minute, yes.
I only wish that the Odwes, beyond prayers, Odwes mobilize and organize for change, for the real issues. I think you hinted an election without discussions around health and education and infrastructure, a discussion in which young people, including one I was talking to last night, was doing academic research, and power goes off here in Kampala.
Allowing Moses to get away with just PDM.
Indeed.
Running water and electricity.
Indeed, and as I said for the 30 seconds, as I said at the beginning, Oscar, to the extent that Maduro is whisked off, to the extent that Sarah Birete is languishing in jail, and young people like Odwe are quiet, I look back at myself, young person in the 70s and 80s, it would be completely impossible. They are not in the streets of Kampala demanding for that. They don't know that the Maduro move has got a direct implication on what happens in the street of Kampala. So youth of Uganda ought to wake up and wake up urgently.
Maduro will discuss after the election, because looks like there's still a long way to go.
I hope we shall discuss these ones of the peace.
Yes, yeah, he's Oremo Odwe, you're on microphone. Yes. And Joseph makes a big point. In your prayers, will you also pray for Sarah Birete?
Very much. I ought to comment. I
don't know whether she's a political prisoner yet. If she's been charged,
she's a prisoner of conscience. Absolutely shameful.
Yes, I think court is handling the issue of Sarah Birete. And
has she been charged?
Yes. The court is still handling, and we need to wait for that.
Has she been charged?
No, she hasn't been. And I can tell you extraordinarily, the other day when she appeared at Buganda Road, I was one of the 4 jurors, especially excellent people. And then the magistrate, even without objection from the state, said, okay, we give state 3 weeks, to go ahead and respond to the lead defense counsel. Precisely. By the way, it was one of the most shocking events and incidents I've ever had in court. It's really massively shameful. And for a woman living behind her children, and for a magistrate who herself is, I believe, a mother, it's a shame. I think the judicial process and the judicial system in this country ought to look at themselves inward.
Yes, thank you, Oscar. I respect my senior Joseph Ochieno so much. he has come out loudly to challenge the decisions of young people who subscribe to the national resistance movement. It's only unfortunate that Joseph Ochieng didn't have the opportunity to run for presidency. Probably would have been in a position to make a proper judgment when he has been presented to the Ugandans. But with research, growing up, we consumed a lot of information that made President Museveni look something that we had not known, because they would tell us all things about him. But doing research, reading and understanding how President Museveni has steered the country for the last 40 years, I made an individual decision to join the national resistance movement.
That's fair enough.
And commenting on the question that you put on the floor, whether NRM is going to win big or small, I can tell you that NRM will win big across the country, because I think just last week I was in Karamoja, for example. The only candidate in Karamoja is President Museveni. This I can tell you, and the 15th is not very far from now. I've had some people here disputing crowds, that crowds do not reflect numbers. These crowds, you see, when you go for mobilization, for example, a political rally. I attended President Museveni's rally in Busia. And I've also seen some areas when Bobby Wine went to Kotido, I was also in Kotido. When you put music running around the district, it is obvious that people, music excites people. Events excite people. When you offer a lorry for people to join and go to the rally, people will join in. Because
number of artists more than the NRM rally.
Now, I'm not talking about artists. First, let me drive my point home. So when we talk about numbers, the NRM presidential candidate has drawn the biggest number of crowds in all districts. If you looked at what happened in Busia, if you looked at the numbers that were in Kapchorwa, in Koboko district, but when we put these rallies aside, let us now go to structures. In the 72 villages of Uganda, NRM has 63 leaders. NRM has, in every village, we have 63 leaders. The team of NRM has been mobilizing in villages and talking to 63 people to go and mobilize the broader base of the village. Just assume that every of these 63 leaders, everyone picked 5 people, in-laws, friends and family members, 5 people to go and vote on the polling day. Who is going to be in position to win? So I think NUP should do focus, because I'm talking about NUP because they are the most close opponents of the NRM. They should focus on building structures, and then we shall see real competition. But as far as I'm concerned with this coming election, NRM is going to win big in presidency. It's going to actually be the biggest win if you are having facts with what is on ground. And then when you get back to these positions in local government, like Moses told you, nobody not field candidates. They field very few candidates in most of the districts. Some districts they don't have candidates even for chairperson LC5. So and NRM is counting on flag bearers, its leaders on the ground, plus the structures to mobilize. So it is going to be a big win.
I've been asking this question of NRM people. Now you are a young NRM person. If you have a feeling that NRM is going to win, then why has it been necessary to beat up opposition people? They don't have structures, they are not a threat, they are not anything.
I don't think NRM beats people. NRM has never gone on the streets to beat people.
That is true.
Yes. When security beats people on the streets, you cannot say NRM is beating people.
It is true.
NRM is mobilizing the people. In fact, most often
I'm inviting you to condemn the violence and the beating.
Very much. I condemn. By the way, I distance myself from the violence we have in this country. I have that you can go and review on my social media platforms. Many often times I have rejected, I have condemned. Being a journalist, I don't feel nice when they're beating journalists on the streets of this country. And you cannot attribute that to the NRM. Sometimes security acts on their own. You cannot entirely put it on NRM.
Security acting on
Not entirely.
Yes.
When NRM is in charge. No, that's
Then it's indiscipline.
That's indiscipline of security under NRA.
Some people in Nope throwing stones at police.
Oh yeah, that has been conceded. But the manner in which the national security is operating, and you guys hold the command for it, and then you say indiscipline and out of charge. No, you guys are completely outrageous.
With the microphone. You saw what happened in Guru. Did you come out and condemn it as well?
Very much, very much. You can talk to people who are close to me on my WhatsApp statuses, on my social media platforms. I have condemned. You see, so we need to deconstruct. We need to
those structures you have out there. Do you have people promoting the view that we should not have discipline, we should not have violence, we should not have indiscipline like that? We can sit down the way we sit on it.
Very much. Actually,
we even have an RDC here, and you know, he's
Oscar. If you're talking about tolerance, I want to inform you this morning that the word tolerance actually makes sense in NRM, but it doesn't make sense in NUP. I can tell you, I have colleagues in the National Unity Platform who cannot look me eye into eye, and that is very unfortunate. That's why we are talking about peace. We need a country that is peaceful. We need to have conversations taking place. We need to pray for our country. Okay. So no, but I have offended it. I have offended them. How is it a problem for me to belong to NRM? You see, the narrative of dogmatic NUP leaders that everyone must subscribe to NUP is something that is very dangerous. It's the one setting. It is the one setting a time bomb. Yes, we must tolerate.
Does he realize how his rhetoric disempowers him from playing that role?
No, it doesn't. I'm saying we shouldn't be dogmatic. If it shouldn't be a crime for me to be in NRM, and I should respect you. How? How am I being dogmatic?
By parroting the narratives that
no.
He's allowed to do that.
No. I am.
Fred, let's go to Fred.
The role of the
no, but he's allowed to do that. He's expressing an opinion.
You see, on top of pursuing the peace that we are pursuing, I subscribe to the NRM. And I don't think it should be a crime for me not to be in NUP. I have my right. So you being in NUP, me being in NRM should never draw a boundary between our interaction.
Mobilize for NRM without presenting yourself as
no. Even
peace.
Even NRM should spread peace.
Let's go to Fred Bamwine here.
Thank you, Oscar.
Instead of asking you, will NRM win big, we could take us into the next question, saying, how is the opposition doing, in your opinion?
Oscar, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with colleagues, and to congratulate the country to have reached far in terms of campaign. Those who are involved in the campaign, I think it is 3 days to go.
Tuesday.
Even if it is Thursday, it is 3 days to go. So I think all the groups have put up their act together. I just came this morning from Eastern. I was in the entire Tiso. I was in Bukedia. I was in Bugisu, trying to continue guide the RDCs as a commissioner on how they should make sure that there is safe, free, and fair elections. But when you were presenting here, I got a bit surprised. Because Oscar, when he talks about violence, it's as if we are singing a chorus. I thought...
Is it as if we are singing what?
When you are singers, one time I was in a school choir. There's this thing they sing as a chorus, the main theme. You can't talk about violence and you say violence is this side. You have been watching clips from these campaigns because you cannot be everywhere. I have not seen a clip where security agencies have told these political actors to follow a certain line, for instance, a direction, and they have complied, and then there's violence. I've not seen that clip. If you have, let us share. Because, for instance, we have the police, which is the security leading this operation. Once they have advised you that this is the direction to follow, and you say, for me, I must pass here. I was imagining, what should the security agencies do? Get the Quran and the Bible and pray? Because the name of the police, at least it is not police charity or police religion. It is a police force.
Take them to court. Charge.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Sometimes those people feel that you're giving them the wrong way. That, you have disenfranchised them. There's one leader you allow them to go there.
That may be true.
And another one you push them around.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Once a rally is going to come to a district, the district security committee sits and invites stakeholders of that political party or candidate, and then they agree on the route march where they are going to pass. I can give an example. Although yesterday, but one, it was, I think, at 8. Some of these are not fair. FDC candidate is supposed to be in Mbare yesterday and today, I think. Can you imagine they came to look for, to discuss for this security route at 8 p.m. And the district security committee was saying, but we have been here the whole week. Why do you come in the last minute and last hour at night? But of course they are trying to play the victim role. So I would wish to see this candidate who has been to follow a route as agreed in security committee and has complied, and therefore there is violence meted against him or her. 2, if security has said, for instance, you are suspected of this crime, and they have come to arrest you, and you have complied. There is nowhere they cannot arrest you from. Even in a bed, they can pick you from there. So I want to see this Ugandan who was told by police to go to police station to answer some things and has complied, and then violence has been meted to him. Because I don't want us to speak as if we are from Mars. This police comes from us. How is the society of Uganda across board? Across board, how do the people behave? I was here the last election when the boys, my brother Katana's team, set fire on Bukerere Road, side by side. You first pay the other side, then they want you the vehicle to pass through the fire. So we sat as district secretary of Mukona and said, what do we do? My DPC then was called Musio, said, no, let me go and talk to them. The man, as he had started talking to them, somebody had stood on his head. But they have set fire for people to pass through vehicles before, in the middle of the fire.
But those are criminal acts.
Yeah. Yes, and such a situation.
Arrested,
yes, yes, and when they are arrested and charged, then they say there is violence.
No, people have been arrested.
That does not stop you. And that's what I'm saying.
No, when you're arrested and charged,
yes,
okay, but
and that's why I'm saying.
I don't know if you've been listening earlier. We know someone who's been arrested recently, Sarah Birete. But I'm just learning now that she hasn't been charged. So,
but Oscar, there's something that is. Oscar, there's something that I think, as you as a moderator and a senior citizen, you should avoid from. If you talk about Sarah Birete, how many women are in Rosera? So, on various cases,
charged.
There is no person that can be processed through the court of Uganda to be remanded without a charge.
That's a good point.
Yes.
So let's stop for a break.
Anybody to be sent on remand must have been charged.
Has got to have a charge. Correct. Let's stop for a break first. Welcome back from the break. This is the Capital Gang. Couple of messages for Moses to begin with. Golova says Moses Byaruhanga's presentation would be great if NUP, like FDC before it, were failing to find candidates in an environment where they are free to mobilize. Presumably, Mr. Byaruhanga does not know that many local NUP mobilizers are in detention. Mr. Katana should tell him. Then Norman Magembe on X, formerly Twitter, says, at Semoyamsoke, a good leader brags about jobs, human rights, medicine in hospitals, rule of law, and so on. But corruption and other mismanagement, because of that, Moses would rather brag about NRM numbers since Chiamba Bo as a party, not the common people. So let's...
Did he want me to say my own question?
Many times you said your own question.
That's why people, that's why people fail in exams.
Is mindful of your established conduct of setting your own questions.
I never failed in exams. That's why I'm where I am. So I would answer the questions as they have been asked. So I could have talked about those issues.
Benjamin, respond to Mr. Bamwine.
I think
Could then we can make a rebuttal. Then two, I am sympathizing with voters in this country because I saw the arguments around more so to Katana. Mr. Chagon, I think it was yesterday but one. He was being interviewed and he said, even if I win 99%, they are not going to announce me. Now, Katana here is saying they are going to win. Now, whom should the voter listen to? The candidate has said, even if I win 99%, I'm not going to be declared. Katana is saying, no, we are winning. We have.
The question is not winning, but being declared, I think. That's
what I'm trying. You see, we are communicating with the public.
A demonstration that I'm going to win, but will declare me. So whatever they declare is wrong.
No, I just
let's allow him to make
I wish his press. So really, to me, the vote at the end of the day, this is an election whereby candidates should be telling us what they are going to do and convince the country to be voted. But in a situation whereby people, because he said they are not going to announce me, and that's not the problem. We want to use this platform for the future, which is starting on 15th. Now, I thought you were kind of saying, people vote for me, I'm going to do ABC. I say, for us, we are trying to use this platform for the future, which is beginning on 15th. My other DCs and whom I supervise, we are chairpersons of the district security committees and the district intelligence committees. And these agencies are paid specifically by government to monitor all of you. And the area and the signal warnings are
All of us.
yes, the whole country. The whole country, even the Moses and others. Every person, by the way, is being monitored by intelligence. And the intelligence is indicating that actually the intention is not for MOP to contest and win. The intention is to use it to get a review of how they can start violence.
And you know, a lot of us contest that kind of intelligence. And even leaders in the intelligence world said all these things are being cooked to make money. I think you've heard of that.
I don't know.
But hold on, you're going to come next on the microphone.
So, once we have intelligence, that although Mr. Katana comes here on Capital Gang, but he's just trying to pass a message that yes, on 15th for us we are ready to unite the country into friends. And I'm trying to tell you that I chair intelligence. Now Oscar is doubting our intelligence, which has kept the country for 40 years.
No, but we've been told you create some intelligence so that you create a threat and so on. And I'm not the one who said this.
No, but Oscar
is one of your leaders that said it.
But Oscar,
Moses, can you wait and let Katana respond first?
So to me,
pause there and Katana speaks.
Thank you, Oscar. And I think even the statements of Bamwine clearly indicate the state of mind, the thinking process of his team. That for them, this is not a democracy.
And a level of threat. He likes to be threatening.
Yes, and they are monitoring citizens. The role of intelligence is not to control citizens, to monitor them, but to monitor crime, to monitor incidents that may relate to crime, but not to monitor citizens. But in addition to that, I would like to begin by deconstructing the misleading hypothesis that because NUP does not have a candidate, for example, in the constituency of Kasaija, that the NUP presidential candidate cannot win. In 2021, I'll give an example of Kamuli district. The NUP as a party did not get any councillor, did not get any chairperson, did not get a member of parliament, but the presidential candidate won with 51% in that particular district, and so many other districts. So, but is Kamuli an urban district?
So your microphone is on.
Yeah, the point is that the hypothesis is misleading and does not paint the accurate picture. But number two, Bamwina is talking about routes, venues. I think the citizens should be able to, first of all, understand the dishonesty in that. And I'll give two examples. The other day we were supposed to have a rally in Chishiji. At 1:30, our area coordinator received a call from the RDC of Kanungu district and said that venue has now been booked by, I think she's the deputy treasurer of NRM, I forgot her name, Chatu Heire, something, that she's going to have an event at that venue. Now, because the RDCs and the security infrastructure have been drawn into this partisan politics on the side of NRM, their job is to frustrate NUP and other opposition parties, but also to give advantage to NRM over its opponents. And while considering these requests for venue, for routes, they have that in mind. And they come up with the decisions that are aimed at frustrating us. In Mukono yesterday, most of the venues that our people had booked were cancelled at the last minute, except one that was eventually allowed. And because the people in charge, the priests withstood the pressure from the RDC and the DPC who were telling them not to clear the venue. Most of the venues that had been booked, they were frustrated at the last minute. So my brother was talking about the absence of my brother, the one who claims to be speaking for peace, about the absence of structures. We have had our teams go to form structures in different parts of the country, and they are arrested just for trying to establish local committees. They are arrested. So if you want to propagate peace, you must begin by propagating equal treatment before the law. For as long as the system is designed to disadvantage some groups, they will resist, and we'll have a breakdown of peace because of that resistance. Number two is for the population to understand the fear-mongering that is being propagated by the NRM side. I have not seen people from any other group that is talking about impending war. And but every election cycle that we have, in an attempt by the NRM to justify deployment of violence, they always create an impression that there is a group that is trying to destabilize the security of the country. In 1996 elections, they said Semogerere and Obote were bringing war to Uganda. Yes.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
Yes.
He's talking about any person who was trying to promote insecurity. Your candidate, he was here in Kawimpin Growers. He declared, he said, for us from now on we are rebels. But let me finish it. Let me repeat it as he said it. As you go home, go as rebels. As you reach home, do all the tactics of rebellion, and there is no any other command.
Is that criminal?
So when the security starts monitoring that those activities,
you are not monitoring.
We are.
You are not monitoring.
Why should we? But what you have already declared?
But Oscar,
you are a rebel.
Maybe you have to take.
How should rebels be connected?
Yeah. So for them to be able to justify deployment of violence, they must create propaganda of impending destabilization of peace, breakdown of public order, and then co-opt people like him to move around and talk about peace, preserving peace. If you ask them who is sponsoring the campaign, it will lead you to the meeting point. It will lead you to the meeting point of the police, of the army, of the NRM, and all sorts of things. Well, you can say it is not true. It is true, but that's what it is. No, what you're doing is not promoting peace.
Let me first take Fred Mamina's microphone away.
What you're doing is to play on the psyche of the population to justify the violence that you have deployed in this process. And I was giving an example of 1996. They said Semogere and Obote are planning war. In 2001, they said the messages planning war. They deployed security. They killed people in Rukunjiri and other parts of the country.
You were part of them.
How? Do you know how old I was in 2001? In 2001, I was in senior 2.
Benjamin,
I was in senior 2.
Don't respond to Benjamin. Yes. Don't respond to because you're leaning on the microphone.
Yes, in 2006. So in all these electoral cycles, you have had people being arrested in a similar manner that our people were arrested in 2001, kept in jail on charges purportedly of planning to overthrow government. You remember the PRA fiasco. Nobody was ever successfully tried or convicted. We have people who were arrested in 2001. In 2021, the group of Machete, Karanzi, and the rest, they are still in jail.
Oh, seriously?
Yes, they have never been tried. Even when the Supreme Court said, let these people be transferred to the civil courts, they are tried. To date, their trial has never kicked off. You have people, victims of enforced disappearances in the 2021 electoral cycle. Now in this cycle, you have people like Mugumya. They have been missing. Nobody has talked about them. So you cannot come here. If there is anybody that is threatening the peace of this country, it is the people that are using the state infrastructure to do politics. And I always love to mention that when we are making the constitution, when you look at the report of the review commission that informed the discussions in the Constituent Assembly, part of why the delegates and the people of Uganda through the delegates, for example, established the Bill of Rights in our constitution, due process, the intention was not to drag Uganda back to the days of darkness, because all these claims, when these people are a threat to security, when even the days of Bandagari, you may wish to call it that.
Joseph, your microphone is not on.
The justification was always, even through the course of history, every time the state has gone rogue, and is trying to control the population, it must come up with false claims of people trying to destabilize peace and order, and then they rely on that to rain terror on the population, and that's what the NRM is doing. That's even now as we speak, most of our candidates for LC3 have been arrested, not presented in any court.
Yeah,
there's a gentleman contesting here, for example, in Anakurabi, I forget his name. There are several, and others are in hiding. Most of our local council candidates.
I don't know whether you can accuse NRM, but certainly you can accuse Bamwine with those threats of insecurity and so on.
No, but you see,
he's the one who vents those threats.
The NRM and the state in Uganda now have become one.
Thank you. Mr. Odwe, seeing that I'm going to let you go very quickly, how is the opposition faring?
The opposition, as far as 2026 is concerned, is faring. I think this is this election.
Well or faring badly?
Not badly, but it's faring well, because if you do a cross section on the previous campaign seasons, this one you can't compare it to the one of 2021. In 2021, by around this time, we had seen a number of, violence between the opposition and security forces. But this time around, even when we have had cases like the one of Gulu and violence here and there, at least there is a reduction in the confrontation between opposition and the police and the security forces. The opposition main candidate has moved. In some instances, he has met challenges with the security forces, but at least he has accessed the people, he has talked to the people. I can say they are faring well compared to the previous elections.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oremu.
Oremu Odwe. But
Odwe.
just before, I wanted to emphasize one thing on what we are pushing as youth for peace in Uganda. No, that one is a fact. My senior brother, I respect you, and I know you as one tolerant man.
Thank you.
So the thing is, we don't want to be in a state that, for example, what happened in Kenya in 2007 when there was a confrontation between the two presidential candidates. People lost lives. The country got destroyed. We don't want to reach there. That's why we were saying.
Thank you.
That's what.
No, Moses, you're going to have him. He's going to stay in the studio as he has. Thank you so much.
There's one last thing, Oscar. There's one last thing. So this is the prayer that young people are making in the country for peace, and we are committing with the young people. Thank God for peace. We thank God for peace in Uganda, and pray for more peace during the election. After the election, we commit to lead by example and being peaceful. And that is a prayer that is going to be done tomorrow across almost all churches in this country by young people, everyone, opposition, FFD.
Thank you very much. We are going to have Electoral Commission come in as well. Moses, now you're on microphone.
Well, what I wanted to comment on, first of all, before the young man, as the young man leaves,
He's listening,
is that, you see, the statement, I think Bamina here mentioned it, that Kyagulanyi was saying that he's going to win, but it's not going to be announced. So you can take that statement lightly, but it's like, because he's going to lose. Basically, it's saying, when they don't announce me, what happens? Because you are like telling your people that I'm going to win, but I'm not going to be announced. Because see, is going to somebody from the Electoral Commission is coming in the next segment. The elections, the results are announced at a polling station. Every polling station in Uganda will have now 50,000 plus. It is a summation. What the EC announces at the center is a summation of all those 50,000 plus polling stations.
Moses, we tried to tell Mr. Nyombi last week, and he couldn't agree. He hadn't realized that.
No, I was listening in. No, I was listening in. That
everyone tried to tell him.
No, I was listening in. Some of you were wrong. I was listening in, but the point here is that so when somebody says I'm not going to be announced, but I'm going to win, so you are like preparing your people for something else, and all those information have to come in. But when the leader comes and says I'm not going to be announced, so what message are you giving to your people down? Two, I need to still remind Katana to give us a scenario, as I mentioned earlier, that NRM is going to win Parliament. There's no doubt about it. Now, if NUP was to win, him and Wandera, if NUP was to win, there would be opposition in Parliament. How do you envisage a situation where you are in the government, you are offering a prime minister, at the same time you're offering a leader of opposition on the other side? Very strange situation. And I think Ugandans don't need this kind of stalemate. It happens in America. They must go the other time for about 2 months without a budget, without money, but that was America.
Which was surprising because they have the majority.
No, but also, you see, in America, the situation is different. That's if the president rejects a law and brings back to Parliament, for you to turn it back, you must, to reject the president's position, you must pass it by 2/3 majority. To object to the president. In other words, the president, and in America, rarely would you have a party, 2/3 in two houses, both the Senate and the House of Representatives. Now, and never would they have a situation that one party has 2/3 of both houses. So here in Uganda, where now we leave Parliament with power to override the president in case there's a disagreement on the law. Now, if NRM, as it's clear, is going to win the parliamentary seats, the majority of them are offer speaker and others, how would the Kyagulanyi be in charge of Uganda?
A good student, but you answer questions, but you're not answering what I've asked you. You're creating your own scenarios.
What have you asked me?
Let me ask you again.
What have you asked me? I was responding.
No, but you already said that, and only you.
Is not bad.
Let me put to you, Moses. Let me put to you, Moses, and Joseph, and maybe Katana here. You and Bamwine know how to divert a discussion, and that's what you're doing. The question on the table is, how is the opposition faring? And for you yourself, I'll add on for you, if they are doing badly, if you have really, as you said earlier, it's a fact that you're going to win. So why is it necessary to brutalize them? Why don't you call out brutality against opposition people?
We have been doing that, exactly that. I have, you see, peaceful election requires peaceful conduct from both sides. We were one day in electoral commission meeting of the candidates representatives. Katana was there, and the police showed us a video clip where, when their candidate was going to Soka, I think, to launch the manifesto, they covered the entire road, that's Kayunga Road, not following traffic rules, and in the process, among themselves, the vehicles knocked each other, and 5 people lost limbs. I don't know how they are flaring now. Now, the police was saying, please don't do this. If we ask you to do the right thing, please listen to us. Now, the other time where...
So that's one incident.
That was
incidents, have you had a chance to
in
tell
other incidents,
like Gulu incidents?
Another incidents which have... the Gulu incident, remember the other time the president in his New Year address said the police, nobody should use sticks to cane people. The president was very clear, said that's not allowed. What is illegally provided for is... Wait, we shall come to that. But at least...
If you keep on saying
you talk about talking against such.
If you keep on saying those things,
the president was very clear and said, the president was very clear that please don't use the stick, don't beat any person who has done wrong.
And you
arrest them, follow legal means. But some of these confrontations, let me take another example, was when their candidate was in Fort Portal. He was coming from Kasese side, using that route from Kasese, from Unyangabo, and then going, the rally venue was before Photo Town. The police was saying, waited for them, clearing the way. And when they wanted us to go to town, go through the town and go through different roads and then go back to the police. Said, but your rally place is there. Why don't you go and address people and then go? And other people, because you still remember, the other parliamentary candidates carrying out their own campaigns in different places. For us as police, we know other people are doing some work somewhere else. Go to your rally. They couldn't agree. The confrontation starts from there. And then they use tear gas to disperse them. Now, you say, that's what I'm calling, you need to be disciplined both sides. The incident in Iganga, where somebody was shot, I heard from the senior police officer. I asked him what happened there. He mentioned it in one of the electoral commission meetings. He said that the Bobi Wine addressed the rally in Iganga and completed his address after people were getting out of the playground, wherever the rally was, the venue. Some people started stoning the police. And the police, in the process of dispersing those crowds, they shot in the air, somebody was killed by the stray bullet. I don't think, for them, they say it was not intentional, but they were trying to defend themselves against people throwing stones at them. So, as Bamina here was saying, we normally see clips on social media about the confrontation, but not the beginning of it. Maybe the police will be criticized for poor PR of showing the entire process, what happened first. Otherwise, we need discipline on both sides. If the police tells you, let's do this, let's follow this, please follow. There have also been accusations that when they go for those planning, the police has mentioned this in our meetings at the EC, that the local organizing committee agrees with the police on the venues and routes to use, like in the case of Fort Portal. But when the team for the Katanas come from Kampala, they impose themselves and change what has already been agreed upon, and that's where confrontations come from. So we have all addressed over 100 rallies, and we have about this instance.
Use the last 2 minutes comment on what these gentlemen are saying on how the opposition is faring, because last week you were in Mbale, capture of Bulambuli and Queen. How was the opposition faring, and is Moses here and Fred correct in that they are fighting criminals, not NUP?
sometimes it's very difficult to discuss these topics with people who have not been on ground. And you can hear
presumably Moses has
not been on ground, and he speaks with.
But if I think about the video clip, I show.
No. A video clip doesn't show the entire context of
where people.
But one of the things I want to inform Moses is that on these rallies, all these officers, by the way, have cameras. Some of them have cameras. So do the Katanas, and we journalists are also there. If indeed what he's trying to bring out is true, they have cameras. I mean, police has cameras that zooms into everything. So if they cannot produce the clips that show that they have been attacked first before they begin beating up people, then I mean it's just
they also video Bobby Wine all the time. They have all these cameras.
Is criminal enough.
Yeah.
I was personally assaulted. I was not involved in fighting with any police officer.
I was in Bulambuli, I was in Mbale, I was in Kwen, and I saw so many, by the way, venues were cancelled at the last minute. You'd reach a venue and then they tell you this has been cancelled, and then you have to continue.
Who would have cancelled? Mr. Bamwine?
Yes, the Bamwines, of course.
The RDC?
Yeah, and one wonders why.
Because they had security information. Because intelligence came. Benjamin, your microphone is
and
not
one
on.
wonders,
Derek, is it because they got intelligence?
Of course they have intelligence. I have seen some generals being fired and because of this intelligence, and then Bamwine here is trying to convince us that they have a very good wrong intelligence. That's what they say. So that's serious.
Moses is heckling and Benjamin is heckling. But Derek, you're right. The bosses fired an intelligence person.
Yes.
Because of giving wrong intelligence.
No, because of being.
And now we're going to stop for a break. I'd like to welcome Mr. Julius Mucunguzi, PRO of the Electoral Commission. You're most welcome to Gang this morning.
Thank you very much, Oscar, and I'm glad to be here amongst.
You look very cold and very, jacketed up. Should we worry? Is that the way the EC is preparing itself for the election? You look cold and miserable.
Miserable, no, cold perhaps, but
cold perhaps, but not miserable.
No, not at all, not at all. There is no cause.
Welcome back from the final break. This is the Capital Gang, the last one to the election. It was Sam Duhura who reminded me, actually, it's the second one of the year. Most welcome to the Capital Gang, Mr. Mucunguzi. Our final topic was how is the Electoral Commission prepared for the election? And it is a genuine question that you need to answer, because in the last election, Kampala got their voting materials at 2 p.m. And yet the Electoral Commission is right here in the center of Kampala. So do you think this time round, Kampala and all other places can get their election material?
Thank you
in the morning straight away.
Thank you very much, Oscar, and I'm glad to be here. Every staff member of the Electoral Commission is everywhere, all over, doing the last minute, engagements. A number of my colleagues are on radio stations all over. I started with a radio station not far away from where you are, and certainly I would have been here from the beginning, but I was also tuning in once in. Yes, exactly. So that's why I'm here to answer my brother Katana, who started off with his comment, but to just let the country know that the Electoral Commission is ready. Everything that is needed for the general elections, beginning with the first polls on the 15th of January, next week on Thursday, are in place. As I speak today, materials are already arriving at the district headquarters, district offices across the country. The Electoral Commission flagged off the dispatch of all these materials, ballot papers, boxes that contain all the sensitive materials for use across the 50,000 polling stations across the country. So that by the morning of the 15th, all required materials with the staff of the commission to handle and conduct the elections will be there. Every general election is an improvement on a previous one. And at the end of every general election, the commission sits and looks at lessons learned. What worked, what didn't work, what could have worked better, with an aim of ensuring that the general election that comes after that one has addressed itself to all the key issues that need to be addressed. So I want to say that the commitment of the Electoral Commission is to make sure that no area receives materials late. In fact, I should say that the Commission does not sit and plan and say that on this occasion, this particular area will receive materials in the afternoon and this one will receive materials at 7 a.m. If it ever happens, or if it happened, it wasn't by design or by deliberate action. It will have happened because of circumstances that would be beyond the Commission's ability to deliver them on time. But on this occasion, I want to say that the flagging off of these materials already started. Already they are arriving at the districts, and we are set. The materials are there. The staff of the commission have been recruited and trained. The necessary equipment, especially the biometric voter verification kits, came in the country. The trainings of the machine operators has been ongoing. They are now undergoing the last refresher training on the machines to make sure that nothing is left to chance, to enable Ugandans to cast their ballots in time, in a peaceful environment, and that the choices they make will reflect the will that they have to choose their leaders. So I can say without any fear control that we are set.
Yes. And this question has been hanging around. How are you going to deal with people in security, or people like Bamwene here who say go home, and people like Katana say follow the law that says you can be away so long as you're 20 meters away? What's the Electoral Commission's recommendation?
You see, I think people have chosen to misrepresent the guidance of the Electoral Commission on this matter. First, the Commission has said that it is very much aware of the law, including the 20 meters that are being talked about. Very much aware. The message of the Commission, through the chairperson of the Commission, Justice Byaruhanga Mugenyi, has been on the practicalities that prevail on the polling stations that we know. And this is what happens. Number one, that you have centers that have about, say 10 polling stations in one space, especially like in these urban centers. And each polling station has got a maximum of 600 people. If you tell 600 people, each one of them to stay after polling, you are talking about 6,000 people in a space that is limited. Now, in a space of that nature, where you are not able to organize people, to tell them what to do and they do it, and you know that they are not in a church or in a mosque where we say stand up, we stand, sit down, we sit down, sing, we sing, that even with the best of intentions, when you are saying that their presence around the polling station after polling that is meant to ensure that they protect the vote, they can actually lead to spoiling the vote by the conduct that they will by the manner in which they will conduct themselves. So the message which is advisory is rooted in the realities and practical realities on the ground, not on the matter of the law.
Thank you for clearing that. So Julia, just 1 second. So why has it been necessary to say it this year? Because we've had all these elections going forward, and it has not been made necessary. I've been at a poll and I've hung around and went home. And then people come back in the evening to count. So why is it necessary to make a mountain out of it?
And you see, that's what we're saying. You see, lessons from the past. There have been a number of cases in the past elections where ballot and polling materials were spoiled by goons and acts of people that were hanging around the polling station. The polling stations, and there are a number of them, about 80 cases that I saw at the last count. But on the question of the protection and security of the interests of the candidate, the Commission has been saying, and continues to say, that the people that are in the law to protect and ensure that the interests of a candidate are secure are clear in the law. They are the agents. Yeah. They are allowed within the polling stations. They are defined. It is them that have the right to to question, to ask, to seek clarification, and even to,
the rest of us should be aware.
And in any case, at the end of the election, after polling, after vote counting, the most important document that comes from a polling station, which is the declaration form, is handed over to the agents of the candidates.
Yeah.
It is not handed over to some people that are standing 100 meters, 20 meters, and that. And see, because the critical document is that declaration form, and the person who signs this is the agent. Now, the commission.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
now,
thank you.
Now, take an example.
Yes.
Oscar here is going to vote in Chigo in Mutungo. Do I take my national ID and that's it? I take myself and my ID.
When you go to the polls, you are
Thursday morning.
Thursday morning,
8:30 a.m. I'm walking there.
At the moment, what is happening? You need to have picked your voter allocation slip.
Where can I pick it?
From the parish. We have staff at the parish level, parish supervisors. Their duty is twofold: to give out these voter allocation slips to each one of the 21.6 million registered voters, and in handing over that receipt,
repeat that for people to listen. So every person
is entitled to a voter allocation slip, because the voter allocation slip is an extract of the voters register. The staff of the commission, who are parish supervisors that are in every parish, are currently giving out these voter allocation slips. And when they give out the slip, they tell you when the voting dates are, they tell you what you need to do, they tell you how not to spoil a ballot. And that kind of voter education is person to person in their languages. If you don't have, then, or it started about 2 weeks ago, and this has been ongoing. Or you can go with your national ID if you have it. But even if you don't have both, the voter allocation slip, the national ID, but you're on the national voters register, the polling officials will be able to check you against the national voters register, and then will take you through the process of verification that we'll speak about, using the biometric voter verification machine, which is mandatory on this occasion, whose law and instrument effecting the mandatory use has been signed by the Minister responsible for Justice. And then you proceed to be verified using your thumbprints. If you don't have thumbprints, using your biometrics on the eyes, the facial recognition, the iris, and then thereafter you'll be handed over 3 ballot papers for the presidential election and parliamentary elections. But those ballot papers will also first be scanned on their barcode to confirm and ensure that they are the ballot papers for that polling station. They have not been introduced from anywhere else. And then you proceed, go through the normal routine.
Just a couple more questions to you.
Yes. No, he will not be rejected, but he will have to answer why he is carrying.
Moses is not on microphone. So
but yes, I'm listening to you, Oscar.
So the two things that come to my mind.
Yes.
The NUP has been saying that you have refused to hand to them the register. But are you saying you have handed the register to everyone and it is there now where I'm going to vote from?
So the commission has, in compliance with the requirements of the law, has and is giving out to the national voters the final one. Remember that on nomination, each of the presidential candidates, for instance, was given a soft copy of the national voters register at that point. For use during that interim period. And the law requires that before polling,
14 days
before polling day, that the hard copy national voters register will be handed over to the presidential candidates. And in compliance with that, the commission has started already. I think by the end of today, all the presidential candidates will have received the.
Not 14 days.
No. I'm talking about the substance of the principle of that law, that the voters register should be in the possession of the candidates,
and by the end of today, it will have happened.
Yes.
Final question.
Yes.
And this is a bit tongue-in-cheek.
Thank you.
Tongue-in-cheek, Byaruhanga style. Have you talked to UEDCL? You know they are my friends, but have you talked to them? So will Uganda have electricity for your machines to run?
No. First of all, the machines have addressed a number of issues.
Yeah.
The machine that we're using on this occasion addressed a number of issues that we experienced in the past. Number one is on the lifespan of the battery on the machine. It lasts over 16 hours.
Right.
And the commission is deploying 2 machines per polling station, and those machines are coming alongside the power bank. So you have a combined amount of time for the machines to operate of over 40, 60 hours. Because if you have 16 plus 16 times 16.
And the poll opens at 7 a.m.?
The poll opens at 7 a.m.
And closes at what time?
At 4 p.m.
At 4 p.m.
As long as there are 10 people, and that's why we are calling upon voters to wake up and go to cast their ballots.
So long as there are 10 people,
the polls will open. But anybody found in the line at 4 p.m. will be allowed to vote. The police constable, the constable who's at the police station, at the polling station, will stand behind the last person that was in the line at 4 p.m. and nobody will be denied the opportunity to vote as long as they are at the polling station at 4 p.m.
Thank you very much. Joseph Ocheno, your microphone.
Everyone has a watch, exactly. Yes, the watches and the means.
I need to switch off this microphone. It's being diversionary.
Yes.
Joseph Ocheno.
It's a delight seeing. It's a delight seeing my good friend Julius here. Just to say that for clarification, Sarah Biriti was actually charged. And interestingly, the particulars of the charges are that she obtained unlawfully some funny personal data in contrary to the provisions of some legislation, except that apparently this was something to do with the National Voters Information controlled and processed by the Electoral Commission without prior consent of the said Electoral Commission. As I understand it, without prejudice. I told you earlier that unfortunately she was not able to be granted bail. But interestingly, good enough since Julius is here. I don't know whether Julius is amongst the complainant or whoever they are. I don't know. Julius, you need to help us with this. But I think it's extremely unfortunate.
Sarah Beauty will have a substantial, for her. But now we have him for just a few minutes.
Indeed, and the reason why I'm putting that in context is. If this is part of this, and the Electoral Commission did not comply to the 14 days provision for providing us with the necessary information, as it were, is extremely unfortunate. But look, looking at everything else, information coming from the Electoral Commission seems to be very precise, and Simon is a very good communicator of it. My concern still is the dubious. Julius. Simon is another good friend of mine, of course, who's the chairman.
No, Simon has been here.
And he's a fantastic guy, the chairman.
That's Kasiate.
Simon Kasiate is another very fantastic friend. I saw him somewhere. But look, Julius, the 20-meter thing, in Nagongera, it's official that my polling station does not require many. It's Rock Hill Primary School, another one is Mahanga Primary School, another one is St. Joseph's Primary School. For you to suggest that these things are circumstantial and leave voters and citizens vague like you do is extremely unfortunate. You need to say that people should be able to act in conformity with the law. And the law requires that it's 20 meters and 20 meters. If circumstances arise and there are particular polling stations which don't meet that, why did you gazette them? Now, in any case, if you've gazetted polling stations which you consider would bring complications, identify them, name them, publicize them, and let the citizens know that in the particular said polling stations you are required on the basis of the kind of concern that might arise, to move within maybe 50 meters.
Moses, microphone.
What is the question? Because I said mine.
No, you just take a note, Julius. Yes. The question was, how ready is the Electoral Commission?
Well, I was appointed as an agent of President Yoweri Museveni's candidate Yoweri Museveni at the Electoral Commission. So we have held meetings with the EC. We started the meetings with harmonization of the campaign programs. I think there were 3 of them. Then after that, we signed memorandums of understanding on implementation of programs. We were given campaign guidelines. Given this, what is explaining about biometric use of BVVK, they invited us as agents of the candidates, took us through how it's going to work. I was satisfied because that system ensures that there is no ghost voting. You can't vote in somebody's name. What Katana was talking about is that people say, we are going to vote for you, we shall tick for you. You can't do that. That's out. You cannot ballot staff because, as Julius explained, the ballot is first scanned And also maybe what he didn't say, at the end, after polling and before start of the counting, they scan each and every ballot which is in the for the second time, so that in case Wandera came with something in his jacket and put it there, and put it there, it will be rejected by the machine. So I'm happy about the use of the machine. Now what is important for people to come and be there and vote, and then wait for the results to be witness the counting of the votes, wait for everything. This issue, so they invited us when they were doing the parking. I was there with some of the other candidates, representatives. We witnessed the process. They have now dispatched. We hope everything would be as planned. So, in my opinion, they are ready. There could have been delays in what I was saying about the 14 days, but at least if all the candidates receive their
if they receive by today, it's
good enough. It's good enough. We have already received ours. I think NUP has also received, and other parties. We have a forum on WhatsApp forum for the agents, and at least those who have received to know each other, and those who haven't received don't know each other, know each other as well.
Okay.
So through that process, we should be able to have a clean election, where you're not talking of ballot stuffing, you're not talking about ghost voting, you're not talking about multiple voting, that somebody can vote more than once. So, and also what maybe just didn't explain, which was told us, that if you go to Kamocha polling station and you're supposed to be in Bukoto, if it is within that district, the system will show you at a wrong polling station. The right one is this one. It directs you where to go. But as long as that polling station is within the district where you are, if it's a different district, it will not show you. It may not show you. Yeah.
Derek.
Yes.
On microphone. There's a Tom Elvis says, but why has the Uganda Electoral Commission insisted on people having to walk looking for voter slips? Yet some Ugandans have created digital platforms to ease this dilemma, and they have arrested them.
For me, the issue that is very controversial here is the 20-meter thing. I don't know. Electoral Commission are my friends, my very good friends, including the
we
chair.
have limited time. So
my question is, why, Julius? Why have you people refused to follow the law? Why are you Electoral Commission? How do you tell people to go away, and yet the law provides for them to stay within 20 meters?
He said it's advisory.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's supposed to be. You're supposed to follow the law the way it is. You do not. What informs your decision?
Some slack. He has said they are cognizant of the law, and they can advise that please go on.
No, why would you? Why would you advise people to break the law?
Can I answer that? Moses wants to answer on behalf of EC.
You know, we don't have a lot of time.
That is a very controversial matter, and the Electoral Commission of all people should come out strongly to say, if you would like to stay, the law provides for you to stay. Please stay.
I think Julius has said
that's not what he said. He's advising people to go home.
Advisory. But also, I want to add that Section 50 of the Electoral Commission Act. One day they can ask a lawyer to help you.
You are not a lawyer.
Yes, because you are not.
Very, very quickly, because we don't have time.
Give the Electoral Commission what they call special powers of the commission. To no, not breach the law. Through this special. If I read it all,
of which law?
Electoral Commission Act, Section 50(1) it says, where during the course of an election it appears to the commission that by reason of any mistake, miscalculation, emergency, or unusual or unforeseen circumstances, any of the provisions of this act, including that what the one referred to, or any law relating to the election, other than the Constitution, does not accord with the exigencies of the situation,
Thank you.
Wait. The commission may by particular or
Thank you,
general. No. Let me
But
finish
you
it.
don't have time.
What everybody's talking about these things?
discussed it and I've answered it. No, it's okay.
Because it's even misleading the
So
listeners.
the
That
electoral commission has power,
No,
and Julius
that
Mucunguzi
provision
will come back.
is in respect
Fred
to
Bamwine, you're on
other
microphone.
factors.
You know we don't have time.
Responding
And it's been
the voting
discussed.
and counting.
Benjamin Katana, you're not on microphone.
Oscar, first of all, I want to thank Electoral Commission so far, where they have reached. But voting is on 15th. Me, I want to advise the remaining days, continue being aggressive on the issue of voter education. I don't know what happens in this country. Some people become overzealous and he takes a candidate beyond the box, and that becomes an invalid vote. I was in Karamaja. They lost 45,000 votes in the last election. So the issue of voter education should continue up to the last minute. So that we reduce on the voter, because I saw even invalid votes in Parliament. So you can see the extent. When they were voting the speaker, they had some invalid votes. Then two, much as for you and the Electoral Commission and your players, but for us as security, we have a role which is not decentralized. In the wisdom of the Electoral Commission and the law, it is 20 meters. But if there is an intelligence estimate as government, your government has not gone to sleep. You have elections, but the government of Uganda will remain functioning. So the state and security must remain working. No, I've not talked for the party. I speak.
Benjamin, I think he's correct in giving that.
No.
For example, if there's a fracas,
yes,
if there are people fighting,
and
then they'll be able to send them.
So once there is a security estimate indicating that Mr. Katana, as I was seeing him in the studio, is likely to breach the peace or is about to injure himself, it is the responsibility of security agencies to come and put the coalitions.
But we need to discuss these things.
Yes,
that
yes.
is an illegality.
Which one?
Because
security.
If he does something wrong, you charge him.
That's what I'm saying.
But you're saying you will charge him before he has done it.
No. I'm saying. I want to repeat again. That's why I'm saying the police even can. There's what
wants to charge you before.
No. That's why there is even. Have you heard of something called the preventive arrest?
Byaruhanga is about to steal his own yogurt. Security has told you once
the estimate indicates that there is likely to breach of peace,
Benjamin Katana,
you can even do the preventive.
2 minutes, Benjamin Katana, because I want to give microphone back to you.
The starting point, of course, is that the Electoral Commission.
Go to the microphone.
The Electoral Commission must be reminded that its role is compliance with the law.
Yeah.
It doesn't make law, and it is not their business to go around advising things that are outside the law. Even the provision that Moses is trying to point to is in reference to different circumstances. For example, if there has been an earthquake and on that day people are not able to vote, the Electoral Commission can give it the next day. But that is not the most important thing.
No, it isn't.
Yes, there is also information that in some places they are not going to deploy BVVK. There have been meetings in some districts, and there has been a conclusion that in these specific sub-counties, we are not going to use BVVK. So we would like to get commitment from the Electoral Commission that it's the deployment of that equipment is not going to be in some places, and in some places people will vote the way they want. Then the other one is about the multiple entries in the registers. Because, if I'm wrong, you'll correct me, these machines, they are restricted to a specific polling station. If, for example, Moses, like most NRM do, is on the register of Kamucha and on the register of Summit View, how is the BVVK going to help us stop him from voting at the two polling stations? Because we have already identified in the system, in the registers, that there are people who appear multiple times. The final point, Oscar, is about the and you know they sent Mbuli the Tefa Yona. The challenge is that the security infrastructure at the district level, which is shared by another DC, who is clearly partisan, like you can tell from the comments of Bamuin on this show, is going to find excuses to say for us we are enforcing state security to disadvantage opponents of the regime. That they need to be reminded that regardless of where they belong, they have a duty to observe the law. Because now they have...
So who are you telling this? The Electoral Commission?
Every actor. These RDCs,
we have
Electoral Commission
here, yes.
Yeah, the echo chamber that they have been in, the CDF, the Chairman Electoral Commission of go home after voting, has no justification under the law.
Okay.
It has no basis.
So now let's go to...
They should abide by the law. As long as a person has not violated the law, they have a right to remain at the polling station, provided they observe the 20 meters distance from the polling table.
So one of the game changers in this election is the mandatory deployment and use of the biometric voter verification machine. Because, as has been said, every voter will have to first be verified before they are given ballot papers. Every ballot paper at a polling station will have to be verified before it is given to a voter. At the closure of the polls, before counting, all ballot papers that have been cast into that ballot box will be checked again and verified to make sure that there was no intrusion or introduction of a foreign ballot paper. And after the declaration form has been signed, it also be taken a picture of and kept on this biometric voter verification machine.
And will it be pinned up as well?
Absolutely, in accordance with the law. Now, the place where results come from is the polling station, and when you ensure...
Where do you pin it?
When you have ensured integrity at the polling station, where results come from, results don't come from anywhere else. They come from the polling station. That's why every effort has been made and is being made to make sure that there is no doubt at all about the integrity and the credibility and the factual nature of the results that will come at each of these polling stations. No one will be able to vote more than once. The principle of one man, one woman, one vote is meant to be achieved to the greatest extent possible through the deployment of this biometric machine. And the law that has been signed into, by the minister does not have any exclusions of places where the machine is not meant to be deployed. These machines are going to be deployed in all the 50,000 plus polling stations across the country, and every voter will have to be verified through the machine. So I hope that answers Katana's question of supposed places where there is not supposed to be the deployment of the...
Will the results be announced at the polling station?
Good point.
Because Katana's candidate is saying for him he will win, but it will not be announced. So will he not be announced at the polling station?
Absolutely. At the polling station, everyone who is there and every agent of the candidate who is there will know what results have been obtained by which candidate at that polling station. And that is where the facts are.
That's really impressive. If you don't mind, that's really impressive.
Transmission from the districts to the final tally.
The results that are transmitted, the results that are transmitted are the results that come from the polling station, not anywhere else.
And so long as you have your declaration
because
form.
of lack of transparency.
No, the transparency is there with the declaration form.
For example, the law requires the electoral commission to give us tally sheets from the districts, but they have not been doing so, and we have written to them asking them to do so this time.
Everything that must be done in accordance with the law will definitely be done in accordance with the law.
And because this time they are digital, it will be a lot easier.
But somebody was asking about whether one has to go and get the vote allocation slips manually. There is a provision online for those who have digital access to check their polling stations on the website of the Electoral Commission. The website of the Electoral Commission, www.ec.or.ug. A window will open that shows check your particulars, voting location. When you enter your NIN number or when you enter your voter location number, it will bring those particulars. So,
excellent.
Since you say that,
First of all, hold on. Were
Yes.
you giving some more information?
yes.
Yeah,
So that is so that's the point that I wanted to make in terms of the integrity at the polling station, which is the most critical point. The point on voter education and making sure that we deal with the question of invalid votes is very, very key, very significant. And that's why we will not relent, and we're not relenting. And that's why we're telling our parish supervisors, as they hand over the voter allocation slips, they go the extra mile of also showing, because we have printed out materials to show people how to correctly mark a ballot paper. We do not want to see invalid votes and spoiled ballots taking the position of number 3 in the total tally of the results. That you have number 1, number 2, and then the next one is invalid votes. We want to make sure that we reduce them. Voter education is critical at all times, and will not.
Just one question from me and one from Joseph. The son Subuga in Namasuba says the people he voted with in 2021 in Namasuba, now they've been told that they will, from their location slip, that they'll vote in Mpiji. So should they wake up early morning and go to Mpiji, or this is not correct? Joseph, what was your question?
That is rather impressive that the finality Julius gives on the results from the polling stations. So if that's the case then, and it's been one of the big contentions, perhaps we would suggest that we don't necessarily need a national polling center, and that if journalists like my good friend here comes out with the figures across the country, that automatically should reflect.
No, the law also,
national.
The law is also very clear on who the returning officer for presidential elections are, and the duties and responsibility of that.
Because part of the argument has been that figures just change between the polling stations.
The law provides that the chairperson of the electoral commission is the national returning officer.
How do you respond to that? That figures change between the polling centers.
I am not aware of any figures that change from the polling. The results that are tallied at the national tally center are the results. No. I am not, and there is no evidence of such allegation that you can find somebody obtaining a certain figure
and different location.
So
Julius, different location from where you voted for. Is this case of Namasuba correct or not?
I mean, those are cases that we'd want to see, because I mean, you say it, but I mean, again, if
you don't have it with you.
Because what we've taken, the commission has taken time to clean up the National Voters Register. The visit that we have today is not an exercise of yesterday. It started last year in January, February, with the update process, with the display at the polling stations, with the people coming and saying that this person died, with people coming and saying this person appears more than once.
And alleged polling stations at prisons.
And it has gone through this process up to, and that's why it has taken long to make sure that the voters register that is available for use is a credible voters register.
Thank you so much.
But the final point, Oscar, is to appeal to Ugandans to continue to keep peace and to be law abiding as we go in this final phase of the campaigns and as we go to the polls. Let nobody engage themselves. Let nobody engage in any activity that can cause violence or that is criminal or that is against the law.
Yeah.
So we are appealing for peaceful conduct. We are appealing for everybody to act within the law.
Assuming we presume that applies to you as well.
Everybody means everybody, including the Electoral Commission.
Thank you for making time to come to Gang.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Benjamin Katana, for coming to Gang. Thank you. We wish you the best at the polling station. Moses Byaruhanga, thank you very much. Again, we wish you the best. Fred Bamwine, thank you very much. Joseph Otieno, thank you very much. Derek Wandera, thank you. Mr. Odwe, also thanks to him. Our listeners, continue with the Capital Radio. We shall be here on Saturday reviewing what has taken place, and we wish you luck with the elections. I am Oscar Semoya Msoke, and I shall see you next week after the elections. Uganda will still be here.